Hey, and welcome back. Today's pretty exciting because we're going somewhere new for the first time in quite a while, actually. Probably the first time in Defiance. We're going to go visit the Vampire Citadel with Kain. And we're going to try to get some answers from some murals, probably. As always, we've got the coin, which is going to tell us how we're going to play today. If it's Kain, we're going to do every fight, feed from every human we possibly can, and even enter an appearance cheat code. We've got 2 left. If it's Raziel, we're going to play it most of the way straight. We'll skip a lot of combat, we'll feed when we're hungry, and just kind of take in the story. Alright, let's flip and see where it lands. Today, it's Raziel. So for Kain, maybe not much fun, but that just means we'll get through it a little faster and just experience the story. Alright, let's get started.
And so I arrived at the citadel of my vampire ancestors, long abandoned since their extinction eons ago. Perhaps it still held the wisdom of its creators. Here, Mobius said I would find proof that Raziel was not what I thought he was, or hoped he would be. But in sending me here, Mobius had done me an unexpected, or perhaps an unwitting service. For it was my destiny, not Raziel's, my role as Scion of Balance, whose secrets I was here to discover.
Okay. Oh, we gotta fight. Never mind. See if we can fight while we talk. So, headcanon time. This chamber here that Kain has arrived in has a lot, looks a lot like the circle chamber in the Seraphan stronghold. Hang on, let's take care of this guy. Bonk, bonk. Okay, can we talk now, or do we have more of you to fight? Okay, so first off, we have, oh, is there another one? Music tells us there is. There we go. Okay, well, we can't go into first person, unfortunately. But you saw in the cinematic that this chamber also has a high view of the pillars, like the circle chamber in the Seraphan stronghold. But a difference is that this chamber has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chairs for the 9 pillars, where the Seraphan chamber only had 7, which leads me to believe that by the time of the Seraphan, 2 of those members had either been marginalized or had willingly taken a step back. Now, this could be a couple of different possibilities. This could be that the senior members of the council, who we'll find out about later, had willingly taken a step back, or that that 2 of the council members had been disenfranchised or marginalized somehow. That's a conversation for another day of who that could have been, but I think one of the most likely and probably immediate candidates for that silencing would have been Malik. After the tragedy of Vorador's attack on the Circle, Malik, of course, bore the blame with the remaining members. And so it stands to reason, at least for me, that his role within the Circle would have been, definitely diminished. So, as punishment, he would have been just the Circle's bodyguard and not an active participant anymore. Now, was that the intention? Probably. Intention of those who raised the pillars? I'm most certain that it wasn't. But anyway, that's the kind of inference that I draw from a place with 7 chairs versus a place with 9. Anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about this place some more. So this is the Vampire Citadel. This is the stronghold of the ancient vampires as they wage their war against their ancient enemy, which we're pretending we don't know who it is yet. at least in this point in the story, and having not played Blood Omen 2 yet. One thing that I do want to talk about is the location. Where are we right now? So this place, Vampire Citadel, is located in the Lake of Tears, which in Blood Omen 1 was located just north of the Wolf Form Cave and the Flay Spirit Forge. Now, I got this information and a lot of the other information I'm going to share from the Legacy of Kain wiki. And because I haven't shouted them out in a while, I really want to recognize that this is the Ancient Sten. This is Reyna Audrin and Bazielam and Abam, friends of the channel and just all around awesome people. So I just want to shout them out again. They have been doing amazing work for the Legacy of Kain fan community for a very long time. So make sure that you check out the wiki and support everything that they do, and check out the Ancient Sten. If you're subscribed to us and you're not subscribed to them, come on, go do that. Also, there's a new official Legacy of Kain channel on YouTube. You should subscribe to that too. Pretty exciting. All right, so somebody's throwing stuff at us here. Who is this? Let's bring him closer for a better look. Well, they look like humans, but like no humans I've ever seen. Do they taste the same? Apparently so. All right, so these are feral humans. And given the nature of where we are right now, which is a huge tower isolated in the middle of a lake, these humans would have been obviously cut off from the rest of human society. And this is not headcanon stuff. This is actually, this is more information from the wiki. These humans are descendants of the thralls of the ancient vampires. So they've been isolated here for millennia now. And they have not seen another being for centuries. And although Kain's a vampire, he looks nothing like the vampires they were used to, which you can see them trying to emulate with the feathers and the claws. And so, of course, they're attacking me on sight. Also, it's a video game and we need enemies to fight. That rhyme was not intentional. Like most of mine. But as we can see, they're just as nutritious as every other human Kain comes across. And even though the coin said we could skip fights, we're locked in, so... There's a fun angle there.
Here, no doubt, was the evidence Mobius wished me to have. For the vampires had prophesied not one, but two champions. One destined to be Nosgoth's redeemer, the other its destroyer.
Recognize that phrase?
The vampire's hero wielded the Reaver, forged for this very purpose. His opponent was clearly the champion of their adversaries, the Hilden, and brandished a flaming sword. The foretold outcome was unambiguous. The vampire hero would fall.
Okay, time to talk. All right, so because I'm a big Legacy of Kain fan and have been for decades, just like Star Wars fans, I have opinions on what order you should experience the games in. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans will tell you should watch them in release order, which is, of course, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, there's story order, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, there's also what's called the Machete order, which you have to be into the fandom pretty deep to know what Machete order is. And I have my own Machete order for Legacy of Kain. For context, Star Wars Machete order is 4, 5, 2, 3, and then 6. And the idea here is we get to see Vader as a villain. We get to see how, incredibly evil he is. And then we jump back and see the backstory of how he got that way. But just, the cool parts. Before we ultimately get to see his redemption in 6. Now, I really like this order. And I have my own Machete order for Legacy of Kain, and that's Blood Omen 1, Soul Reaver 1, Soul Reaver 2, and then jumping over Blood Omen 2 into Defiance. Now, Blood Omen 2, you do get an explanation here for why Kain says,
"My God, the Hilden,"
at the end of Soul Reaver 2. And of course, here he knows all about the Hilden because of the events of Blood Omen 2. Now, my reasoning for skipping Blood Omen 2 is not unlike the Star Wars Machete order reasoning for skipping over Episode 1. And that's mostly because the story is not as good, but also it's to keep a certain momentum with the characters and the stakes. And so we do miss a little bit of explanation because by the end of Blood Omen 2, Kain knows all about the Hilden and the threat that they represent. And so he instantly recognizes them in the murals here. And the one thing that we lose in my Legacy of Kain Machete order is, the stakes that come, the personal stakes that come for Kain with that. So there is an argument for playing Blood Omen 2 between Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance. But I almost feel like that momentum between Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance is more important to hold on to than the little bit of explanation that we come away with there. So there's an argument either way. And whichever way you think is correct, you're not wrong. Let's move on. Arcane Tome, excellent. Pot of Blood, it must have been there forever. Ugh.
I know you're there.
More pathetic humans, which I have to fight. Okay, then. Evenly distributed bunks. Beat the Reaver. Feed myself. And as we play, you'll hear a little bit of language they're speaking, which is completely different than anything else we've heard in Nosgoth, which, to be fair, at least in English-speaking countries, we've only ever heard English in Nosgoth. But it makes sense given that they've been isolated from human society for millennia. Not centuries, millennia. Alright, got a door there. Anything over here? Oh, look at that. The Wheel of Life. Take a closer look at that after we fight these guys. Actually, do we have to fight them? Yeah, we do. We can recognize one word, and that's vampire. I think it's pretty obvious that means vampire. And I hear no vampire, and to me that says you're not a vampire. Which, well, I mean, there's pretty compelling evidence to the contrary, but whatever.
Reaver required some additional enhancement before this door could be opened.
Again. No matter how many times I hear it, I still love that laugh so much. Sounds like there's a shade around here somewhere, but I don't see it. So here's an interesting thing I learned about not long ago. I've talked a little bit about how I'd like to see the camera work in Defiance. Well, it turns out years ago, there was a trainer, which is a kind of mod for Defiance, that actually enabled that a Soul Reaver 2 style follow cam for Defiance. Super cool, and I'd like to try it out sometime. But I've heard it's not very reliable, and doesn't make, it only works in certain areas. So I think that that's something.
This door was clearly significant. The answers I sought surely lay within. But to unlock the chamber, the balance emblem had to be fully restored.
Let's go look at that really quick. Or, okay, I guess we'll fight first. Man, these feral humans really are feral, aren't they? Capable warriors, and I respect their strength, but they're gonna have to go. Okay, so this is interesting. We know what that is. That is that's the same design that's at the base of the pillars. So, but we don't have the fully restored balance emblem, so we've got stuff to do. Ah, nice. That is Nightmare's Hammer. That is the air-based heavy attack. We've rolled Kain enough times that our combat experience is, yeah, we're one level away from maxed. Here we go. Whoops, we didn't look at it. Oh well.
I know you're there.
Do we have to do this fight? Not really, actually. Oh. Okay, if you're an auto face, X is gonna miss dodge, no matter what. So, watch that. Ooh. I'm kind of glad we came back, actually. So here's a health upgrade. stuff to do. Don't have time to fight y'all. Okay, so we just jumped now to one of the outlying towers. Let's see what's beyond this workgate. The place is positively infested with feral humans. Gotta watch out for that Kano-style somersault attack. Ah, this guy again. Yeah, very misdodge, very handy against these guys. Of course, I always get hit right after I say stuff like that. It's dangerous thinking. Best keep your mind on your work. One thing I will say for Defiance is that it does have great enemy variety. Not the best in the series. I think that title goes to Blood Omen 1, actually. But it is really, really interesting, like, that you do have to mix up your tactics with the golems, for instance. And then there's actual bosses, too. Even if some of the bosses are very, very similar and almost cookie cutter to each other. But as we'll see later, Defiance has some great bosses. So this area is, of course, the Light Forge, which we visited, or will visit, with Raziel in the cemetery chapter. Come on, Kain. There you go. I know you can climb it. And we haven't talked about this in a while, but I'd spend a fair amount of time thinking about vampire evolution, right? So these gifts that Kain has that his children eventually got as well. Now, in the opening cinematic of Soul Reaver 1, Raziel says that Kain would enter the state of change and emerge with a new gift, and then sometime after the Master, their own evolution would follow. Now, these abilities that Kain has, and actually in Defiance shares with Raziel, like climbing and telekinesis, and in addition to his other gifts too, it's just really interesting to kind of think about, okay, when did Kain, how long has Kain actually had a lot of these gifts? Well, we know the answer to some of that. The forms, of course, he's had since Blood Omen 1. And then when we play Blood Omen 2, we see where he, acquires telekinesis and where he acquires his jump ability and a few others too. I don't really have a concrete point to make on this. It's just interesting, and I think about it a lot. Okay, this is where Raziel will extinguish that light. Oh, we've got another portal here. I would be curious to know kind of what exactly they were meant to be saying here. We get what we can from context, but still interesting. Okay. This is the portal that leads to the cemetery. And then, of course, here's the mural of the curse that Raziel saw earlier. Alright, I'm not convinced we've seen everything there is to see here yet, so let's go just double check and make sure. So this is where we came in. This is where we went up. It's a sealed door. That's where the statue was. Oh, hey, there we go. Arcane Tome. Always pays to look around. Love it when I can throw people I can't even see. All right, just quick double check, make sure we didn't miss anything down here. We didn't. Okay. Another teleporter here. Oh. And that looks like it's going to take us to the Fire Temple. Which, I think it's pretty,
These statues were singularly inanimate. I knew better than to assume they would always remain so.
Well, yeah, we just fought one. A different kind, but still, we just fought a statue that came to life. It's pretty reasonable to assume that all of these shrines, all of these forges, are in this vampire citadel, just different parts of it. Because it looks like there's different towers, several discrete structures inside this complex. Ah, yep. And this is these are the Vorador murals that Raziel saw. Oh, hey. And TK rune, yes. Now this is kind of interesting. Now, when we when the Lesser Shades came out in the Seraphan Citadel, I noticed a few Seraphan corpses around in the areas where the Shades were. But the Shades and the humans right now are fighting kind of side by side. So I wonder if what I saw in the Seraphan Stronghold was a fluke, just a random dead Seraphan, or if the Shades actually turned on the Seraphan, where here they're not because of, I don't know, it's a mystery. Or I could be making something out of nothing, which I do sometimes. Okay, probably don't need anything up here because that's those torches were that Raziel lit the last time we were here, or the next time we'll be here. Up here, nope. Alright, what's down here? Other than these feral humans. They really don't look like they smell terribly good. Haven't seen a whole lot of water around here yet, so... The one nice thing about having your combat experience maxed is the moveset does keep the fights from getting too boring. Because it encourages you to mix it up, and if you can manage to land all 4 of your attack combos in one engagement, you can usually finish them off pretty quick. All right, so we got a climbing portion there. We got a mist gate here. Oh, hello, Shades. AKA cannon fodder. Conflict Guardian's tomb. Nope, no Wake the Dead for us today. I hear another portal going somewhere. So that means the Nature Guardian's tomb is over here. Anything in here for us? Not really. Okay. Keep exploring. Where does this take us? Okay, so that takes us to a new shrine, which we have not been to with Raziel yet. So, I think because all of these mobs seem to attack so often in these large groups, I think we're going to switch to the Conflict Reaver, or the Flame Reaver, so that we can use our Inspire Hate spell. Climb, climb, climb. Okay, so that's where I came up originally. And this will take us back to the light temple. Okay. So we've done our exploring here. Let's move on. So this looks very much like a symbol that would be water. Of course it's water, right? Of course no. But given how well vampires do with water, we're gonna have to be kind of careful. Yep, and this is a different version of the mural that Kain saw back at the main Citadel complex. We can get, can't really get anywhere with Kain here, so. Nope, can't get in there. The broken teleporter that would take us to the Dark Temple. If it worked. Ah, nice. Another health upgrade. Lots of pickups this time, so definitely do your exploring. Let's see where we are, actually. Oh, nice. Yeah, moving right along, aren't we? Okay. Got a TK object there. Looks like we need some kind of relics to open this door. I assume that's the Death and States relics that we saw on the objective screen. This looks brittle. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's have you two work it out amongst yourselves. Very good. Anything over here? Nope. Death relic, obviously. Carved stone skull.
I know you're there.
Okay, yes, I see you. This begs the question. How did they get in there? Have they just always been in here? Did they grow up in here? Did generations of their ancestors live and died in this room? Or maybe there's just some hidey holes we don't ever get to see. Asking the important questions. And states. Rusted scales.
Carved stone skull. Rusted scales.
Again, I just love that even with these little just item names, Simon gives us full performance. Okay, what's up here? Oh, actually first, let's... Okay, yes, we've been here. One of my other issues with Defiance is, of course, how similar all of these temples look to each other. I've said it before. I'll probably say it again a few more times. Look around before we jump down. Oh, let's just jump right back down to where we were. One of those cases of being so careful you screw up anyway. All right. Okay. Now we'll go open the door down here. Oh, don't want to step in that. I don't know if the game would do anything to us, but lore-wise, we don't want to step into that. Oh, here's where they bathe. Okay, and I see another emblem over there. Excellent. Okay, so I've gotten stuck on this a number of times, and here's how you avoid that. Okay, so we see the TK emblem there. You can't hit it yet, but you see the braziers just above it? Those you can get. So we'll be very careful. So aim, make sure you have your Flame Reaver on, and light them up. Save you some time. Now we can go down here and hit this guy. New Reaver!
The third fragment of the balance emblem endowed the Reaver with the elemental power of lightning.
Yeah, I love lightning. Lightning, of course, was my favorite spell in Blood Omen 1. And now, I'm not sure if we've talked about it yet, but each of the emblem fragments that Kain picks up corresponds to a particular pillar. The balance emblem, of course, is corresponds to a pillar of balance. The flame emblem is also the conflict emblem, and that, of course, corresponds to the pillar of conflict. Not lesser shade. Does Inspired Hate work on these guys? Lightning doesn't really. Anyway, the Dimension fragment, of course, corresponds to the Pillar of Dimension, and then the Lightning emblem, the Lightning fragment, corresponds to the Pillar of Energy. Now, there is, of course, one more emblem that we need to get that we haven't talked about yet. But the original idea behind the scenes for Defiance was for Kain to acquire fragments of the balance emblem that corresponded to all 9 pillars. And of course, 4 of those were cut. But that's just nature of game development. You have big ideas and you got to scale them down in the execution. Same thing in film and video production. Okay, well now we've got our lightning emblem. Let's charge it up and see what we can do with it. over here. Let's see what this thing can do. Yeah. So the Lightning Reaver definitely has my favorite charged Reaver ability, which is which I'd love to show you. Okay, well, whatever. Another time then, I guess. Okay, so we've got the Lightning Fragment now, so we should be able to open that gate at the other end of the Citadel. Do I have to fight you guys? No, I don't. Alright, let's do this. Oh. What does my spell do? Not a lot against these guys, it turns out, which makes sense, because lightning and stone don't really interact much, do they? Okay, moving on. How many more of these statues we're gonna have to fight? Yep. There we go. They look a little goofy. But they are rather challenging. And when they've got this energy barrier up, you actually get hurt trying to fight them. So that's when you want to try to wait them out. Physically, like melee-wise, believe it or not, they're not as tough as the Raziel-looking statues. Yeah, see? Get hit like that, not good. You want to dodge these fireballs. You can TK the fireballs, but I prefer to dodge. Ooh, yeah, again, don't get greedy. Watch those, watch that shield when it goes up. Usually it'll go away after 3 volleys of fireballs. Alright. Let's work our way back to the main Citadel. Okay, now we're getting into the more challenging combat in Defiance, because we're fighting 2 of these guys at the same time. But I think it's actually easier to fight 2 at the same time because of this. Come on, get a little closer. Just stand a little closer. That's right. Just let them smack each other. Come on. Because they hit way harder than you do. That includes each other. Alright, there's one. Of course, now that the other one's gone, we don't have him to do the work for us, so there we go. Heavy attacks, quick attacks, as long as you're not being greedy, you can get them pretty good. Okay. Takes us back to the water temple. Yes, yes, yes. You don't like me because I don't look anything like your former masters who you haven't seen in generations, so whatever. Wait, please. Of course it does make me wonder, until very recently in this point in time, Yanis Audrin had been alive. So it does make me wonder if he or any of the ancients had ever come to visit this place. I mean, given that the vampire Citadel was the site of centuries of war between the ancient vampires and the Hilden, I can't imagine that he would have had very many happy memories here, so I think it stands to reason they probably wouldn't have wanted to just come and check in. Okay, these guys you can also bait into attacking each other, but they tend to keep their distance more, so you're probably better off just fighting them normally. The key is, of course, to keep moving. And these are very challenging fights, I will not lie. They can hit each other, but it's not quite as reliable to bait them to do. It's not quite. They don't do it quite as reliably as the Raziel statues. Yeah, come on, hit each other with your fireballs. We got them stacked up a little too hard now. The camera is definitely working against us here. There we go. All right, let's get back. This, of course, takes us back through the Light Forge. Nope. Look, I know you're upset that I'm trespassing, but I've got things to do, okay? There we go. Should probably take a second to save. There we go. New save. Continue.
A new area of the vampire Citadel lay open. I still had much to discover.
All right, and that's the first area of the Vampire Citadel, which is cool because it's a new area. Less cool because we have, 3 Reaver Forges that we've already been in. But still, it's a new area in Legacy of Kain, and that's super cool. If you've been following along with me, you should have 9 health upgrades, you should have 6 TK rooms, and 7 arcane tomes. All right, next time we get to go visit our friend Vorador with Raziel. So thanks for watching, and thanks for listening to me geek out about my Legacy of Kain machete order. If you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things.
Wow.